All right, we're gonna go through the draft overview. We'll start off with Bjorgen talking about the first pick in the draft.
Yeah, that was owned by me for the second year in a row. So yeah, going for three now after this year, and we'll see. No brainer, Ashton Genty. Um, he's uh tier one player, and it's kind of him, and then everybody else.
Yeah,
Um,
you
was
got
pretty close.
you
What's
got
up?
you got a lot of trade offers for him.
Oh yeah, tons of trade offers. Pretty close in some instances to getting a deal done, and then um, working on a deal right up until the end, and it fell through, and it all worked out anyways. So
All right.
pretty happy with it, and yeah.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with the best player in the draft. So with that, we'll go to 102, where Chris Moyer takes Omari and Hampton. A decent pick, but given his team, he probably should have went with probably should have went wide receiver to keep building that core, especially if you're a rebuilding team, you want to build wide receiver first. So I would have went Ted McMillan or Hunter here. Aaron?
So at the third overall pick, Travis Hunter comes off the board. He was a big wild card for this draft. He could have went any probably as far back as like the 107, but him coming off early is a little bit surprising for Andrew, but he's still a great prospect and expect him to be very good.
Hmm. Yeah, I never been high on Travis Hunter, but we'll see. He's like a to me, he's a boomer bust player, so
Yeah.
we'll have to see
Hopefully
see
he
what.
can stop dancing in practice and actually do his work.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what the Colorado players are made of this year, if they're all hype or if they're the real deal. So, pick four, Travion Henderson, good pick. Um, Definitely a need that was addressed, and he's, um, yeah, he's gonna be just fine there. I thought that maybe the next pick that Jesse's going to talk about, Tet, would um, be swapped out with Travis Hunter. He would maybe go where Hunter did or Henderson did. Um, but it's not the way the cards fell.
Yeah. And yeah, kind of going off of that because this ties in with McMillan at 105, which is a steal for Renegade at 105. I think Andrew probably should have went McMillan instead of Henderson, especially with your wide receiver core looking the way it is and the type of talent that McMillan is. But Renegade gets probably a slam dunk player, McMillan. She pairs him with her quarterback, which is Bryce Young. And yeah, good player, good pick,
Hmm.
steal.
Steal.
At pick 106, we have Saucy Spaghetti taking Tyler Warren. It came as a little bit of a surprise to some people, but I don't mind taking your your player that you feel very confident about that he's going to be very good here. Um, I don't think he's too far off from Judkins or Harvey or Buka that could have been taken here. I feel just fine securing your tight end of the future here. I think that's a good pick by Saucy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. We all have our own rankings. I liked Loveland a little better because of I think he's in a little more positive situation, but um, we'll get to that later. Good pick though. Judkins, goes to Mr. Mike at pick 7. I think also a good pick right here. Um, I think you you know maybe he slid just a little bit, um, but I think he's gonna be pretty good. So
Yeah. Yeah, and then pick 8, got Cam Ward. Easy pick for Saucy Spaghetti. He fell this far. I can't believe he did fall this far. Probably should have went in the 105 to 107 area. So that was a good slam dunk pick by Saucy Spaghetti right there. And honestly, Mike might be kicking himself for not taking Ward instead he took the RB talent on a rough team, Quinshawn Judkins. So we'll see. But good pick by Saucy Spaghetti, Aaron.
And at pick 9, we have RJ Harvey coming off the board. Um, I think for team Andrew Gross, I think you're still happy taking RJ Harvey here, but personally, I probably would have gone a different direction with this selection. I think that you really wanted Cam Ward to fall here, but he didn't. So at that point, you're kind of scrambling. Obviously, Harvey was talented enough to get selected in the second round, but I would rather lean on a Emeka Egbuka, someone who has shown that he can be the superstar, shows great leadership traits, and someone who's going to overall just be a plus instead of the question mark of Harvey. Um, I think athletically he's there. It's just with some of the refined stuff. Don't know if Harvey's gonna be going to be the elite guy, which is why he's at the back end of the first round as compared to some of these other guys.
yeah, and next pick is Pastor Prime. He stays where he is. I heard he was entertaining some offers there for a while, and he takes Igbuka. Um, Good pick. But we were thinking that he was going to end up with either Scadaboo or Loveland, and that didn't happen. And then we were thinking probably Luther, being that that he's a pastor. So which he did end up with. So destiny happened there. Good pick though. You got over in Tampa, you have Mayfield, who's just a gunslinger. Perfect situation for a young wide receiver to have success.
Yeah. And then at 111, we got Matthew Golden. Probably a decent pick. Would have preferred Colston Loveland to go to Juggernaut JSS here. He does not have a great tight end situation. But honestly, best player available maybe on his board, it was Golden. It can't fault him too much for it. And if Golden wasn't taken here, he probably would have been taken at 112. So got to get your guy, Aaron.
Yeah. And then at 112 we have Caleb Johnson. I think if you're team Mahabat here, you've already got Sam Laporta. Um, but honestly, Colston Loveland sitting there is very, very intriguing. I mean, we're talking about a top 10 draft pick as opposed to a running back who was taken, albeit in the early third round, but still a third round running back. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I probably would have leaned Loveland, but I still don't mind Caleb Johnson. I think he's a good-looking prospect, and he still has an opportunity to do something pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then for the rest of the draft, let's just highlight our own picks, and then we'll go through any other highlights. Aaron, you want to highlight 2-1?
Yeah, I'll start with obviously 2-1 here, Colston Loveland. Going into the draft, I thought that I was more than likely going to either get Golden or Caleb Johnson, just based on kind of the math of there being 13 guys, and I felt there was a pretty clear tier break. But yeah, I thought Golden or Caleb Johnson were the two most that had the biggest percent of falling to me, but I knew Colston Loveland was an option, was really hoping to get him. That actually opened the door to a big trade that happened, sending George Kittle away and bringing in Nico Collins. So it's really a franchise altering move right there. Hopefully Loveland can do some good stuff for my team.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw this trade go down, I was like, this is like the perfect win-win trade. Aaron gets to, I should say, Mystery Meat gets to go younger at tight end with a high ceiling, and in return, he gets to pick up a bunch of players um, by trading off George Kittle, and then Bolscat gets to acquire George Kittle, giving away a couple pieces that um, weren't as important on his roster.
Yeah.
Um, I thought that was like the perfect win-win trade when Loveland fell. Um, yeah, just perfect example of a win-win.
Yeah, it was a good fair trade. It addressed both of our needs, and it puts me in a really good spot with a really good tight end that should have at least 2 to 3 more years of good, high quality play than George Kittle's. So, yeah. I'm gonna highlight 2-3 real fast. Jackson Dart, it's a no-brainer. Last first round QB available. I got a lot of trade offers for him, none of which were very good. So yeah, I kind of just stuck and picked Jackson Dart there, and I'm happy with it. Hopefully, he sits a year and can learn and come out firing next year. Yeah. Any other picks in the second round that really stick out to you guys? There's a couple that I can mention, but
I think 2-3 and 2-4 are kind of some picks that stuck out to me. Um, at 2-2, taking Higgins, which isn't as atrocious. I mean, I think that's still probably fine. He's projected to do a lot of good over at Houston, but at pick 4, taking Besh when Luther Burden is on the board was a little bit of a head scratcher to me.
yeah,
And you'll see that as kind of a common occurrence as Luther Burden slides down the board here.
yeah, even over Cam Scattaboo, which it
Yeah,
seemed like there was kind of a idea that Renegade was not going to take Scattaboo. So I don't know. If I were Andrew, I would have went Scattaboo, and then you could have definitely got Besh at 2-6. I think
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Mason
Mm,
Taylor went a little higher than I guess everyone was thinking, but I mean he's the next best tight end in the draft. So there's that. Jordan, you want to talk about Luther Burden real fast?
uh, I say perfect fit for Pastor. Oh, Pastor Prime. Uh, yeah, I think he probably fell down the board a little further than we thought.
Yeah,
Good pick. Um, I think Bullscat taking Jackson Dart second round. Um, that was a pick I really wanted to make a deal on, but I think Bullscat got away with a steal there. Um,
yeah,
Yeah.
Second round highlights. Juggernaut's taken a flyer on Milrow, um, despite having Darnold. But if Darnold goes back to his old ways, he's gonna look like a really good manager. So,
Yep.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah, looking through the rest of the draft, um, notable players, I suppose. We're all looking at Shadur Sanders, which goes to Pastor Prime.
Yep.
How you guys feel about that one?
I honestly should have taken him at 3.8 probably. I kind of regretting that a little bit, especially with the upside that he has. But I mean, he is kind of buried right now with Cleveland. But if he's the best QB, he'll rise to the top. So
Yeah, they'll be competing for snaps big time.
yeah,
Um, third
I,
round, I really liked Terrence Ferguson. He slid down to me. Um,
yeah, which was
I was really happy with that pick.
yeah, that was surprising that Arroyo went before Ferguson. So
Yeah,
you got away with one there, I think. I
and at 3-1, I kind of had a little bit of a short list here of players. Was hoping Tyler Show made it that far. Kyle Williams was on that list, but just got to bring it back to the draft day, and it was Jaden Blue no matter what. So,
I'm gonna kick you
um,
out.
pretty happy
Be
with that.
fired.
Pretty
Yeah,
happy with getting him there. Wasn't sure with what Mahabat was gonna do because Um, yeah, and I thought for sure he would try to go for the RB in a kind of a weak RB room over in Dallas, but
yeah,
I guess we'll see what happens with Kyle Williams as well.
yeah. I also like, well, I like this wasn't his pick because it was auto pick, but Baron Eston getting Devin Neal there. That's a guy I really wanted at 3.6. So Devin Neal, I think, has a shot at winning if Kamara gets hurt or he just regresses because he's old. Um, Devin Neal could be really good. Also, Chris going back to back with those Iowa wide receivers that are both from Houston. Don't really like the strategy there because they're both competing with each other for play time and targets and all that. Maybe one of them pans out, but would have rather him picked, I don't know, Devin Neal there or maybe Ferguson, Sampson, someone else there. So,
Yeah. Uh, we want to do a throw a warning out to Mr. Mike. He went and picked Cam Miller, horns down. So I don't know. Wish him the best. But um, took a flyer on Cam Miller. Nobody went after Tommy Mellott though.
yeah.
Quarterback turned wide receiver.
Yeah, I didn't see anyone go after that. At 5.1, getting Trevor Etienne, that's actually pretty decent value. I don't know how much run he'll get, but I like that.
In the fifth
Yeah.
round, I mean, you're grasping at straws anyway, so
Yeah,
that's really
yeah,
Yeah. Well, and you look at the pick after Ollie Gordon early in the season. It seemed like Ollie Gordon was going to be um, ahead of Genty, um,
yeah,
I
draft
think that's
projection
a hot
wise, and
take.
then well, it might be a hot take, but he he really slid down the board. I mean, he had a good season, but it wasn't what they were all thinking it would be. It wasn't as dominant as Genty.
yeah,
So, falling all the way to a fourth round pick is quite the quite the fall. But definitely has the potential though.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Let's see. Well,
Well, can we talk about the defenses that got picked here?
yeah, real fast. We'll talk the defenses. The first was an auto pick, but it's kind of hilarious that that was the defense that was taken last year by Juggernaut. So never take defense. Never take defense. You don't
Yeah,
need to. I
At
would.
least there wasn't a kicker this year. I mean,
Yeah.
hey,
Yep.
and my guy Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt goes last in the draft. He's Mr. Irrelevant, but he's relevant in all of our hearts because he has the best name in the draft.
Yeah. So finally, who do you guys think was the best draft, and who do you think was the worst draft? Just skimming
tough.
through this, I feel like at least the first 2 rounds for Renegade really good. She did well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Feel like Pastor Prime had a decent draft with like Buka and Burden. Burden definitely fell, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean, he was never making a trade if we're being honest here, so
I mean, the only thing for you, Bjorgen, is if did you pick Genty? Yes. Okay, you had a good draft.
Yeah, it's tough because but
Okay.
I mean, Andrew found a way to acquire quite a few picks.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of potential sitting on his team right now.
Yeah.
Couple picks that I would have done differently, but I'm not I'm not drafting for him. So, um, but overall good draft by him.
Yeah. Yeah. It almost seemed like he did not expect the way the draft fell to happen, and so he kind of wasn't ready for it. But I mean, he's still got a lot of good young talent, so we'll see what happens.
Yep. Yep. He'll be looking for a quarterback. It looks like either through trade or next year's draft. So
Yeah. He
it'll be
might
an
be.
interesting thing to watch.
I don't know. He might be battling with you for that first overall pick next year.
Yeah, we'll see. We're hoping to move off of it, but we'll see.
uh, any other final thoughts? When anyone who you think really had a rough draft?
um,
Um,
It's hard to say. Like if anyone actually
hard
had
to
a.
say.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Chris, Omarion Hampton, excellent choice. You kind of touched on the two Houston receivers,
Yeah.
kind of working against each other a little bit. Hopefully they both work out. Um, and then Ollie Gordon, he's gonna kind of get buried in the depth chart.
Yeah.
Um, so um, yeah, we wish him all the best there. But it just there's quite the drop off from pick 1 to pick 2, so
Yeah.
it's you just got to sometimes pick best player available, and I don't know that um, the two Iowa State guys were there, but if they're his guys, they're his guys. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Mahabat would have preferred one of those wide receivers to fall at 112. For
yeah.
sure. Aaron, any last closing thoughts?
Um, I guess I don't really have any closing thoughts for this draft. I would just like to say that Baroness did not showing up, even though he did get a good prospect in Devin Neal. That's probably an L, just not showing up at all and not being able to make
Yeah,
moves.
that's probably the worst draft if we're being honest.
yeah,
He didn't have
that's
much capital to begin with, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge believer in Jalen Royals.
Yeah.
Even though he's
Uh,
drawing some high praise in practice.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, well, that's going to close it out for this draft overview and just run through. And uh, we'll come back next time with some other video about some other topic about the league. Tune in next time.